What's up, everybody, and welcome to a special pre-taped episode of Strong Style coming to you live on this Saturday morning. If you're watching it when we drop it here, I am one of the three gentlemen who host this show. I'm the Outlaw John Rocha, joined by these two awesome guys. Aaron Turner, how are you?
I'm doing well. Just saw Black Panther, and it's really good. Surprise, surprise.
Good review there by Aaron Turner. Chris Burns joining us again. Chris, how are you feeling, man? How are things?
Things are good. I got a fresh cut for the show.
Look at that.
By tomorrow, it'll be very messed up, but it's all good.
Is that a Capri Sun?
You better believe it.
Liquid cool.
Gotta love it. We're going to get into so many things here today. We're going to talk about the little Raw action, some SmackDown action, if we can squeeze it in. Definitely getting some AEW Dynamite stuff with Saraya being officially cleared, supposedly. She tweeted out the letter and everything like that. So is that going to happen? It teased of a fight with her and Britt Baker coming down the road. Sammy Guevara and Daniel Bryan. We had Austin Theory almost cashing in. And what's that all? How do we like that decision? We're going to get into a review on Tales from the Territories, the Polynesian territory that they did on this most recent one. And we're going to get into some more of the Nick Aldis situation, the NWA, and have some conversations about all of this stuff. There are no Streamlabs Super Chats today because we are pre-taping this episode, but, hopefully we enjoy you enough that you hit that thanks button down below and send some support for us as we go along. All right, Aaron Turner, where shall we start, my man?
We'll start with Monday Night Raw. I'll run it down, and then we'll talk about it. The Usos and Solo Sikoa came out first and had a exchange with the New Day and Matt Riddle, talking about bongos and whatnot. Then they got into a match, and the Usos and Solo Sikoa defeated the New Day and Riddle. We moved on to Baron Corbin. Again, he's still here with that awful gear, defeating Cedric Alexander. We then had Damage Control and Bianca, Alexa, and Asuka getting into it with some Japanese back and forth. Seth Rollins issues an open challenge for the U.S. title, which is answered by the entire Judgment Day, which leads to Rhea Ripley being attacked by a returning Mia Yim.
Yeah.
And then a skirmish with the OC and the Judgment Day leads to a no contest between Seth and Finn Balor. We would have more Seth later. Otis defeated Elias, kind of surprising. We had Austin Theory defeating Shelton Benjamin. There was a Shelton Benjamin sighting. Good to see him. The Miz defeated Johnny Gargano, and then Dexter Lumis beat down The Miz after. Nikki Cross defeated Dana Brooke to win the 24/7 championship, and then promptly tried to throw it in the trash, but missed the trash can.
How do you not reshoot that? I don't know.
I don't know. We're live, pal. Seth Rollins came out again to finish the open challenge, which is initially answered by Mustafa Ali, and then got beat up by Bobby Lashley. And Lashley's the one that answered the challenge, and then he beat the hell out of Seth before the match officially started. And then the officials told Lashley, "You got to go." Then Austin Theory thought it would be a good time to cash in his Money in the Bank for a United States Championship match. Until Bobby Lashley returned to beat the crap out of him being Theory, leading to Rollins getting the victory and Austin Theory's Money in the Bank hopes squashed by the almighty Bobby Lashley. So that was Monday Night Raw in a nutshell.
Well, let's focus on a few things here. Let's assume with you, Chris. Thoughts on the Seth Rollins, Lashley, Austin Theory situation. What do you think about that? And let's go around the table and talk about that particular thing. Did this make any sense? We'd been waiting for so long for him to cash it. Do you think this was a decision by Triple H to be like, you know what? I don't know where we're going with this. Let's just take this off of you and be done with it so we don't have to be hamstrung to it. What do you think was the thinking behind having this all happen the way it did on Raw?
I actually know the thinking behind it.
Oh, okay. Please.
So talking to some people, apparently the issue is Roman Reigns is not losing the title before WrestleMania. That is really kind of the issue, right?
Okay.
And also, as reported, allegedly, Money in the Bank has been removed as one of the actual pay-per-views or premium live events that is scheduled for the rest of the year. So apparently the plan is to put the Money in the Bank ladder match on WrestleMania, which is where it used to live. Rather than have a whole event dedicated to it, which I like. I think makes way more sense.
Is a cost-cutting move, do you think? Or is it more a matter of like they think it's been too much to make one match at an entire premium live event and they just want to make it part of the
Yeah,
WrestleMania.
it's just one of those things where I think it cuts time down on WrestleMania,
Yeah,
where you
fair.
can put a lot of people who are sort of in the mix in one match,
Oh,
both on
good
the
point.
women's
Yeah.
and men's side. And also it makes it mean more
Yeah.
when it's like not like there's certain events that the gimmick match is built in. The Royal Rumble
Yeah.
is an institution, like it happens every year, and it kind of takes away from that to have yet another event that's like not too far away from the Rumble. That's like, oh, and the winner gets a shot at the title. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So all that's in the mix. So the thing is, what do you do with Austin Theory holding the Money in the Bank if you know damn well he's not going to beat Roman for it? And, also the Money in the Bank ladder match is happening at WrestleMania, which is when his Money in the Bank would expire. So there's no direction to go in other than for him to fail at cashing it in. Now, the way they handled it, just a botch.
Yeah.
Completely,
Okay.
in my opinion.
Okay.
And not just because he lost, but because the man put out 2 open challenges earlier in the night. Why do you have to cash in your briefcase if there's an open challenge? That doesn't make any sense at all. Like, not even a little bit. Like, I get that he just got beat up, so I can come in and try to take advantage, but he could have just been like, hey, he's beat down. I'm open. I'm answering the challenge. Or what are you scared of me? Let's do it right now. Like, that's all that's all he needed to do. He never needed to cash in.
Yeah.
It just made him look like a fucking moron.
That's a good point. It's an all open challenge. So why do I need to cash in? It seems like double duty. You don't need to cash in the Money in the Bank case if it's already an open challenge and just kind of slide on in there. Yeah, this makes a lot of sense. What do you think, Aaron? What do you think about how this went down and the way they handled everything here, given that what Chris has just given us a little more context on what's possibly going on behind the scenes?
Well, something that I definitely like is the removal of Money in the Bank as a pay-per-view. I hope they do the same thing with Hell in a Cell as a pay-per-view, because it's a unique thing. And if like TNA back in the day did Lockdown, that was their pay-per-view where every single match was a cage match, which a lot of people didn't like, but I was like, well, that's a unique idea. At least every match is in a cage. If you're going to call something Hell in a Cell and every match is on Hell in a Cell, what's the point? So I'm glad that that's happening. A lot of people said also online that, like, well, this has never been done. Like, why would you not cash in for the world title? Well, if I recall, when Otis had won the Money in the Bank, he had talked about cashing it in for the tag team championships, which I thought would have been a really unique idea as well. Like, why wouldn't that work? That would be great. Ultimately, he got his push went very stalled very much, and they gave it to the Miz, and they pretty much wasted that Money in the Bank. And I mean, it's not the end of the world. Like, John Cena didn't win his Money in the Bank when he cashed it in. Neither did Baron Corbin. Neither did Damian Sandow. So it's happened before. It's not the end of the world for Austin Theory. I think the statistic was he's lost 17 of his last 19. Was the statistic I came across, which is bad. That's not good. Yeah. I don't know what happened with Austin Theory. I mean, I know he was a Vince guy, obviously, but it's like the way they went about it was very muddy. Like, why couldn't they just have him cash in on Roman and then Roman just beats him? Like, I don't understand why you couldn't just do that.
Yeah, it was weird.
Seems like, and people would believe that. Though Seth is like somehow getting like, I mean, obviously he's great and we love him. He's an all-timer in WWE, but it's like, this guy's like getting over as a babyface, and I don't know if they exactly expected that. So it's like he was going to cash it on Seth to make him a heel against Seth's babyface. I don't know. And what's Lashley doing? Like 2 weeks ago, he's a babyface. I don't understand how he's like a bad guy. He's beating up poor Mustafa Ali. So it's just muddy. That whole situation is very muddy, and I don't like it.
It's very muddy. I mean, him and Nikki Cross are both muddy. Like, where are you landing on this? Lashley and Cross, I mean, like, are you with, against? I'm very confused by everything that's going on with both of these wrestlers in their respective situations and storylines. Yeah, I thought it was a bit weird. I mean, I thought, wow, you're gonna cash it in for this title at this point, and then you're not even gonna get it. It seemed like a bit of a slap in the face for his ascension, for Austin Theory's ascension. But just maybe it was Triple H going, let's just take this off of him, and we have the freedom now to build up storylines in a certain way and maybe expand what we can do with him. I don't know, but we've seen some missteps. I think that Corbin thing is certainly a misstep. Damage control still hasn't worked in my personal opinion. And what they're doing with Liv Morgan seems ridiculous to me. So it's like they haven't been knocking it out of the park as we were hoping they would in terms of batting percentage. They're still doing well, still an all-star, but I worry about some of these kind of, as you said, Aaron, so well, muddy situations and how they're going to clarify this as we go along. And don't forget some of these things, as you said a few weeks ago, Chris, Triple H was handed some of this stuff. So he's got to kind of figure out where he's going to. So we may get a little muddiness for now as the mud gets cleared in the water and we get a more unified decision going forward on all these storylines heading towards good resolutions down the road. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, what about Elimination Chamber? Do you think they should get rid of that? That's also a premium live event built around one match or one particular match, male and female.
I think they are getting rid of Hell in a Cell, Aaron.
Okay. Good.
But I think Elimination Chamber is like kind of up in the air just because like one belt is usually reserved for whoever wins the Rumble. They choose, and so that leaves your other world title. But now Roman's the champion of both, so
yeah.
I don't think they've made a firm decision on Elimination Chamber. Okay. Well, they have made a firm decision, and to what you were talking about, Aaron, Seth Rollins internally listed as the number one babyface on Monday Night Raw. He is officially a face, which it seems like he turned face because of his theme song. Am I wrong?
I think you're right.
Was he just battling Riddle?
But like the fans wouldn't stop going, oh, and now they love him, and he hasn't changed character much. He hasn't like acted any differently. They just love him. And Lashley apparently is indeed a heel now, and it's what I'm hearing is not an accident that Shelton and Cedric reappeared.
Let's go.
Okay, I'm down with that. Well, what about this other stuff? Anything you guys want to say? Oh, actually, let me swing back to you, Aaron, about something you brought up. And Chris, get your thoughts on this as well. But Aaron, first, do you think because he's been listed, as Chris just said, as the internal number one babyface, yes, he may not lose the Universal belt, but doesn't he have both belts? So could they split the belts up yet again and give Rollins a run with the other heavyweight title belt? And him beat Roman for some reason, either before or after WrestleMania. Do you think that's a possibility because of the huge groundswell of support for him kind of going into being a babyface?
Again, muddy. Okay. I don't know how you do that. Like, I don't know how you split them up now. Like, how does that work? Sorry, my dog's going crazy. I think when Cody comes back, a lot of things are going to be cleared up. So we got Cody waiting in the wings. My question is, like, I know this is not even what you asked me, but like, I'm thinking about what do we do with Drew McIntyre?
Yeah,
because him and Roman just had like an absolute banger at Clash at the Castle, and I think that's like we've hit peak Drew McIntyre at not giving him the title. Like, there's really nothing, for him to do. So that's the guy I'm worried about. I'm also worried about Lashley because we're flip flopping. Started the year as a heel, then we made him a babyface when he was the U.S. champion. He really did a lot of work bringing that back to prominence. Was having really good matches. Now he's heel again, so it's like we're wavering on him too. And we're wavering on Seth. Like you said, 2 weeks ago he's battling Riddle.
Yeah,
and saying that his wife left him, his kids left him, and nobody likes him. How am I going to root for that guy? That's mean. So I think we're going to get a lot of questions answered after Elimination Chamber. Again, I said, like, I feel like we're getting a reset, and then Royal Rumble. I think we're going to get more answers if we see Cody return. But I don't think you can do that. I don't think you can take one. It's either both or nothing, I guess.
Yeah, Chris, am I having selective amnesia? Like, has it always been like this? It just feels like, I guess so. During the Rock, Triple H, Stone Cold, Undertaker, all during that Attitude Era, those were the guys that were constantly fighting for that one belt. But with the split, it just seems weird now because you've got Lashley, you've got Rollins, you've got you got Reigns there involved, obviously holding the belt. But you got all these people who McIntyre, you've got all these people who could conceivably and believably win the top title and carry it for a couple of months or a few months So how do you keep those mouths fed by not giving them the belt and holding them off while Roman keeps holding onto the belt? Is there a point past WrestleMania where it becomes untenable for Roman to hold both belts anymore?
I think they got to do a draft. Like, I think
God,
they got to.
no.
Yeah, I think they got to get some. I do. I mean, they do it every year. So
Yeah.
I'm just like, make it to Mania, and then you gotta shuffle the deck. We need. Honestly, McIntyre should be on Raw. He should be away from Roman, in my opinion.
That's a good point.
Can I interest you in a Drew McIntyre versus the Hurt Business?
You can.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I can do that. And it's just weird now because Seth is a babyface. Because it's like Randy Orton has to come back at some point. Right. I suppose he'll turn on Riddle or the other way around, and then they'll feud. And where does that leave Karrion Kross on SmackDown when this thing with him and Drew are done? A lot of it is just weird right now. And really the culprit is how good the Bloodline storyline has been.
Yeah.
The plan apparently was Kevin Owens was supposed to have been come back and teamed with Sami to take the belts off the Usos. But because Sami is so over in this situation, and now everyone's chanting Usi at him every city they go, they can't pull the trigger on that yet because it's not time. Yeah. So it's like, I don't know. Muddy is the right word. And they're just kind of like trying to see how everything develops as they get through Survivor Series.
Fair enough. Aaron, anything else you want to bring up on like that you want to talk about from Raw? And then of course, Chris, your input on anything Aaron brings up here. Anything do you think is big that kind of stood out from Raw?
The promo between Asuka and Io Sky, it went viral for many reasons. I don't know if you guys saw the translation, but it was kind of stupid what Asuka was saying to her, and she just kept calling her stupid. Like the baka baka baka, I guess means stupid.
Yeah.
And Io Sky with the bitch, like it just, I'm starting to get on John's train of thinking here. Like this damage control stuff is not working out.
What the crap?
It's just not working out. Like I want it to. It's like Bailey's so good. Like she's so good. Chris calls her the GOAT. Like she's so good at what she does. And it's like, I feel like she's kind of saddled with this right now. Like until we get, again, a reset or this Elimination Chamber that we're building to, or not Elimination Chamber, but War Games that we're building to a Survivor Series, we're just going to have to deal with this. Like we're just going to have to trudge through this really not great team for another, so we're in November. So like 3 more weeks, we're going to have to deal with this crap. So we're just going to have to grin and bear it, but damage control not working for me right now at all.
Yeah. Chris, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, I hate to say it because I like everyone involved. I thought Dakota Kai was really good in NXT. I love Io Sky. I'm still wanting to call her Saraya all the time. Bailey's outfit was amazing on Monday Night Raw because when you look thick wearing black, let me tell you, and black usually slims and never mind. I'm losing my train of thought.
You're gonna get us canceled.
I'm sorry. It just they don't. Yeah, it's just like a great shirt, great pants, great sneakers, and they just fucking clash. You know what I mean? And that's just ultimately what's happening with damage control. I don't know if whoever this 5th person is supposed to be for War Games, because they've made it very clear that it's 5-on-5 for War Games. Yeah. So I don't know who the 5th person could even be for them. Some people are saying that they're talking about not having Sasha and Naomi return together and Sasha and Bailey, which would be weird. I don't know. So it's just a big mess. It really is a mess. And I had really high hopes for them. I really did.
Sometimes I can see the thing coming. It's not because I have a grudge against either situation. It's just I just sensed that the chemistry wasn't right. I've been a director before. I know how you place certain actors. I know what works and what doesn't. And in my opinion, and to me, this didn't work from the beginning. It was the star quality power wasn't equal. It wasn't. And Bailey is so good on her own. It's not that she can't get people over. It's just that these two wrestlers weren't at that level where getting Bailey shine on them would have gotten them over even more. They don't play off her as well as Bailey does. And that's a limit. And look, not every wrestler is going to be, that's the reason the great ones stand out, because their ability to stand out in a certain way or have that it that you can't put your finger on is not carried by many people. So having them interact with each other, it just seemed pretty obvious. So now, yeah, you wonder who this fifth person is. I think they threw the Nikki Cross in there because they sensed people were getting bored and it was getting stale and they weren't getting that over. So you throw a X factor into the mix, but then you have that stupid situation where she dropped the title on the ground instead of in the trash can. I get that you're caught up and you're being the crazy person, but you still got to fucking hit the mark, for God's sakes. And poor Bailey was just kind of like, do I pick it up? Do I not pick it up? I got him going, and you saw that, and that killed the whole moment. It killed the whole moment because that belt sounded so loud when it hit the ground. And so it just killed the moment completely. So who knows? And I don't really think Nikki Cross is the one to make this thing work. Who's as middling as Io Sky and Dakota Kai in terms of being over? It's just not there at the Bailey level. So whoever this fifth person is you're referencing, Chris, got to be at the Bailey level. Just has to be. It can't be. I mean, it's like Gladys Knight and the Pips. She's there. They're all the Pips. It just ain't gonna work. You know what I'm saying? You need another Gladys Knight to make this thing work better. So that's my 2 cents on it.
I did want to mention one little thing.
Please.
So I don't know if you guys saw this. You probably did. But that whole backstage thing with Damage Control, Bianca, and the gang.
Oh yeah.
Did you see Bianca and Rhea? When Rhea walked by, she looked at the title, looked at Bianca, just kind of left. And it's like, yeah, we're gonna plant a little seed there for WrestleMania because that's probably where we're going. So. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, I have faith that Triple H has kind of thought this out long term. And so he's just like, look, right now it may seem muddy. It may seem, just let me get through this and I'll clear shit up. And trust me, you guys, it's going to be great. Just let me have a little bit of time to untangle all these cords. And I'm going to have something really clean for y'all to enjoy. And certainly dropping that little seed, as you said, Aaron, is kind of a sign to those of us who have faith in what Triple H is going to do, that he understands what the people want. So yeah. It's smart.
Mia Yim doing anything for you?
Yeah. I mean, I liked her coming back. I think I forgot how she matches Rhea's size. And so that makes it seem believable that she can give Rhea all she can handle. It's an odd pairing with the OC, I guess, but it kind of works. Bullet Club being global, being international. So having someone like Mia Yim come in, I think is a nice addition to it. And her taking that kendo stick to Rhea really worked. Now Dom really does look like the bitch of the litter. Like he does look compared to everybody else. And so it's going to be interesting to see how now all of a sudden, if Rhea is taken out of the equation because she's dealing with Mia Yim, who's going to protect Dom? Who's going to help Dom? Who's going to be in Dom's corner? How's Dom going to make this work? So now comes the real work. If he's really going to get over, this is the moment because everyone else is distracted. You've got to find a way to stand out and make those storylines work. So, what do you think about it, Chris?
Yeah, I like Mia Yim. You know what I mean? I like her. You're right. Visually,
yes.
When you first hear it, and then they're gonna bring in Mia Yim, you're like, all right. And then you saw them standing together. You're like, oh, okay. All right. Yeah. I totally see it. See it. So, there was no real explanation for it. It's just like, we were looking for a problem, someone to solve the problem, and that person found us. Yeah, but why though? You know what I mean? Why does she want to fight Rhea Ripley? Maybe point. That'll come out in another promo later on. Who knows? But for now, yeah, I'm running with it. With it.
What's your thoughts here, Aaron?
It's fine. Man, so I mean, I can't really think of anyone else you would plug into that spot at the moment. We kind of threw out some names, but it works. Just OC and Judgment Day isn't working for me either. So it's kind of I don't know where you go after that. I'm actually looking really forward to down the road Imperium and the Hurt Business. Let's do that. That's gonna be exciting. So, but yeah, it works. Like you said, it visually makes sense.
Yeah.
and Mia can be intimidating. My only thoughts on Mia Yim is that she doesn't do anything unique. Like all of her moves that she does are moves that other people have already done.
Okay.
And it's just like, it's not nothing that she does is unique. So I don't really get it, but it works for people, I guess.
Do you think this is the opening slightly of the door of Keith Lee maybe coming back at some point? Do you think that's a possibility here with her coming in?
Sure do help.
I mean, Keith looked like he wanted to be any place else but that match on AEW Dynamite. Like he really did. But
I mean, it's one thing, it's one thing to have your wife there or spouse, but it can work. Like Zelina Vega and Malachi are in two separate companies.
That's true.
It could work. It could work. So
all right. And I got a personal soft spot for her because she's from Northern Virginia, near where I grew up. I grew up in Dale City. She grew up in Manassas, which is like 20 minutes outside. My sister lives in Manassas, so I like champion her a little bit or cheer for her a little bit. So maybe there'll be a different Mia Yim that has come back here. Aaron, maybe she does find some unique moves that make her stand out, and this could be a very interesting battle with Rhea. So we'll see. All right, let's take a quick break and we'll jump into our next section right after this. All right, Aaron, where are we off to, brother man?
We're off to the Pacific, and we're talking about the season finale of Tales from the Territory, Season 1, Pacific Polynesian Wrestling. So our roundtable this week has Lars Anderson, Kevin Sullivan, Rocky Iakea, and Bruno Lauer. You probably know him as Harvey Whippleman.
Yes.
Peter Maia, we'll start with some storylines and we'll just talk about it. Again, Peter Maivia ripping out the eyeball of Billy Robinson. Of course, you can't have a tale from the territory without someone ripping out an eye. Kevin Sullivan literally refusing to go over to avoid being, killed by the Polynesian people. Lee Maivia, the Rock's grandma, taking over the territory from Peter Maivia, her husband, after he passed away, and making it very profitable as they were that link between Japan and California in the United States. They were the holdover spot. So a lot of good wrestling happened there. Ultimately, an FBI investigation and dwindling attendance spelled the end for Polynesian Pacific Wrestling. And the legacy, of course, continues today with superstars such as Roman Reigns, the Usos, The Rock, so on and so on. I could go on for 20 minutes about the Anawahi family and their influence on wrestling and things like that. Really cool story about The Rock and that T-shirt that Bruno found in his closet. Very cool. So what did you think of Tales from the Territory, Pacific Polynesian Wrestling?
My quick thoughts are, I loved it. I really loved it. This is one of my favorite episodes of the season. I know it's only been 6, but this one I really enjoyed because I had never heard any of this stuff. I've never dived too deep on the Polynesian wrestling side of things other than knowing The Rock connected to Rocky Johnson, because Rocky Johnson and Tony Atlas were my first favorite tag team that I loved, and their big rival were the Wild Samoans. And so for me, I hated the Wild Samoans. Like I just grew up as a kid hating them so much, and then finding out that they were connected down the road when I became such a fan of The Rock, and then reading all the history, of course, reading in his book, all the history of that kind of stuff. But I didn't hear any of these stories. So getting deep into these stories and hear it all work. And of course, and I think what really stood out to me too was that moment they realized, hey, she was the first female promoter, not only that, female promoter of color who was doing this after her husband died, taking over, and that, she was the toughest one there and making jokes about that. But hearing Kevin Sullivan, I mean, great devil worshiper in the, storyline. Kevin Sullivan was scared of a crowd of someone. I mean, hearing the old guys talk about how they were legitimately scared about these situations they were in, it just makes you appreciate the situation of Vince taking it over. Yeah. Did Vince screw a lot of people over? Sure. But I think we'd have a lot more deaths if he hadn't done this situation, a lot more injuries, because those territories sounded like absolute insane situations to be a part of. And some of the stuff that went down was crazy. And hearing about how that promoter at the end, who used to be their commentator, was branching off and doing his own thing. What was that all about? And then that's what ends up hastening the end of this Polynesian territory for wrestling is such a shame. But I thought it was a good crew of guys. And hearing about, homie getting his ass beat up, Lars getting beat up, and his tongue, like them yanking the tongue, wanted to throw him in the ocean. They were going to drown him. I'm like, it's a fucking wrestling territory, but this is the kind of madness that was going on in these wrestling territories. It's pretty insane. And And having been in Hawaii a few times and considering, like, I would consider moving there because I went there for a couple of set visits and I was there for a few days. The locals, you talk to the locals, they're very clear. Like, if you're from out of town, it is not an easy place to make a life in. They are very judgmental of people that come from out of town. They're warm, they're receiving, and they're caring. But once you're a part of the town, there's a lot of judgment of you that comes across because, as Rocky was saying, they're a small group. And so they feel very, very protective about each other. So I found that a lot of truth in that as well as I was watching this. But yeah, a fun episode. What did you think, Chris?
I mean, that story was like the main thing I was going to talk about. That stuck with Lars said it so casually when he was like, and then they pried my tongue out. I'm like, no. There's no casual, and then they pried my tongue out. I'm like, yo, that visual that made me feel it. Yeah. I just, you talk about dangerous, like, in the ring.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there was like there are gangsters involved and locals and all sorts of just nonsense happening around that territory. Yeah. So, like, it's almost like thank goodness that it was absorbed into something else later so that it could be a little bit more regulated, because it was as wild as the wild Samoans were portraying to be.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I enjoyed this episode. I didn't connect with it as much just because I have very little familiarity with this promotion. It just is one of those historical blind spots for me. But I mean, I always like hearing about new stories that you've never heard before and adding more context and stuff like that. Like, you know, Harvey Whippleman, I had really no knowledge of him prior to, you know, his time in WWE, really. Mm-hmm. So that was cool seeing stories from him and how involved he was in that territory.
He bought the Rock a car for $40.
Yeah. $40.
And then just like how influential High Chief Peter Maivia was, and how he's not really talked about in the same like breath as like the Inokis and the Vince McMahons and the Dusties, when he really should.
Very true.
Yes. So I mean, yeah, I was definitely entertained, but like I said, that I was like kind of falling asleep at one point. And then the tongue story happened, and I was like, wait, what happened to your? And I rewound and re-listened to that whole story. Wild times, man. I wouldn't have made it in the territory.
Oh no! Oh my God! Like what Kevin did, I'd have done that in a heartbeat myself. It's a little decisions you make in certain moments when you're younger that lead to you still being alive in your 40s and 50s and 60s. What did you think there, Aaron, about this particular episode?
They killed a man with a piece of concrete.
Yes, they did.
They killed a man.
A police officer.
Yeah, they killed a cop. And then Peter Maivia was like, hey. And everybody's like,
don't do that.
Sorry about that. I also didn't know a lot about, this. I mean, of course you hear about the family all the time. Right. You know, I mean, you go on with the lineage of the family all day long, but it's like, it was cutthroat. And a lot of people, I guess, yeah, Leah Maivia definitely ran the territory. Christine Jarrett in Memphis was like the money lady, and she had a certain amount of control. So there were a lot of women controlling things back in the day, more than you realize.
Fair enough.
But it's just, damn, man. The stories are wild. Like I like to think of myself as a pacifist until you upset me, and I feel like I would just be dead. Like someone's grabbing my tongue. It's like, you don't have to throw me in the ocean. I'll just jump in. You don't have to worry about it. Like, that's so crazy. And it's just like that the big event that they did where they had all the people from Crockett. They had like Flair and Andre the Giant. And all these people come over to do a big show. And then Crockett's like, yeah, don't film any of us or we'll sue you. And it's like, come on. Like, these people, you're using these people and their money and all this kind of stuff for their publicity and their local gate, and you won't even let them get, come on.
Yeah.
So stupid. Like, this is why the territories failed, because they couldn't work somewhat together. Like, people want the forbidden door and stuff like that. Like, these companies are separate for a reason. Like, they can't, nobody wants to work together enough so everybody, gets a piece.
Yeah.
It's just you can't be done. So it's just another example. It's always good to hear these stories. I'm excited. I hope we get a season 2 because we got much more to go for sure.
Yeah, I'd like these to be longer or do more.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's what's frustrating for me is we get caught up in these stories like, oh yeah, they were eating dinner and homie said something about him eating with his hands, so he took his eye out and he kicked him through a window. But I want to hear about the storylines. Like, what were the great rivalries? What were the things that really sold it? It wasn't just having wrestlers there who were part of your promotion. What were the storylines? What were the big events that happened that like kind of put you on the map, that got people to come see you? What were the things that kept you going? Like, those are the things that I want to hear about. And I think we get caught up too much in the first season on these like, yeah, look, guys pulled a gun on me outside in the parking lot. I think that should totally be an element, but let me have more of what was going on with the wrestlers. Who was there at the time? What was the time? And with this one, I was really disappointed The Rock didn't sit in, or The Rock didn't have a little bit of time with the guys to kind of talk about, what it was like for him growing up and hearing these stories as a kid. Because we got, what's his face's kid in the last one, I think, here, what it was like for him to watch this whole thing happen. Was it Gagne?
Greg Gagne.
Yeah, Greg Gagne. What it was like for him to see all this kind of stuff, or Bret Hart talking about what it was like before he understood what the business was, watching his father go through the stuff he was going through, hearing The Rock's point of view on all of this as a third generation wrestler, now with his daughter being a part. I think it would have been great to have him be a part of this. I know he's super busy, but he's an executive producer on this. Sit down with you guys and talk shit, especially if Bruno, like, you lived with Bruno because your father couldn't be bothered to raise you for a little bit of time. Like, that would have been cool to have him sit in with the guys. So I think in the future, if they do a season 2, they should do 10 episodes and make certain territories like 2-episode ones like they did with Memphis, because I think there's a lot more to explore there. Like that whole second episode of Memphis was just Andy Kaufman and Jerry Lawler. One rivalry, but it was worth it to have a whole episode about it. So let's hear more about that if they do a season 2, in my opinion. What do you
do Smoky Mountain? A whole 2 episodes with Cornette. Corny.
I'm down with that.
Corny, Ricky Morton. Yeah, let's do it.
I mean, the FBI getting involved with that was a crazy. And then this whole thing with having Gordon Sully involved. I mean, how many Gordon Sully's fingerprints seem to be on a lot of territories.
Yeah, for an announcer,
he's the Forrest Gump of the territory.
Yeah,
sure. He was everywhere.
Yeah.
But having this whole thing about a booking fee, which now seems so logical to understand, I guess back then it was something that you had to kind of get people to get in their minds and understand how the business worked. But kind of crazy how that all went down as well, And I wonder if maybe he was like, well, I'm a man in that traditional type, and I'm going to try and create my own promotion because she's not that good at it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to break away and do my own thing, and causing all that. I mean, fuck, the guy saying that they called him and told him that they were going to take his son's balls and stick them in his mouth. Good God almighty. It's kind of madness you're dealing with that kind of stuff. So, all right. Anything more to say on this, or should we move on?
I think we're good.
Okay. All right. Let's take a quick break. We'll move on to our next thing right after this. All right, Aaron, let's move on. You want to light the fuse?
I do want to light the fuse. There's a puppy. AEW Dynamite this week, not Ring of Honor television, thank God. We had FTR and the Acclaimed defeating Swerve and Our Glory and the Guns. We had MJF cutting a promo on Barstool Sports Guys for some reason.
Weird.
And he vowed to beat John Moxley. We had Ego Ethan Page defeat Eddie Kingston in the first round of the title eliminator tournament. We had Wardlow, the TNT champion, defeat Ari Daivari. And then for some reason, out of nowhere, Samoa Joe just said, I'm going to put you in the coquina clutch. So that looks like War Joe's over. We had Saraya and Britt go face-to-face, announcing that they will face each other at Full Gear. That will be a thing. And that she's cleared. We'll get more into that. John Moxley cut a promo. We had Jamie Hayter defeating Sky Blue to keep her momentum going against Toni Storm at Full Gear. And then in the main event, we had Bryan Danielson defeat Sammy Guevara in a 2 out of 3 falls match to end the show. So thoughts on AEW Dynamite this week?
Chris?
I think I texted you guys this. We're watching AEW recently, and in regards to my complete rant last episode, it feels like going to an indie show where, okay, I'm going to see some names that I know and in some good wrestling, storyline irrelevant. And for the most part, that's kind of how I feel about AEW. There's nothing so super compelling happening that's making me I gotta watch from week to week to week. Really,
Yeah.
Like the only thing that really grabbed me this episode was how Saraya kind of got smoked on the microphone.
So? Okay.
Kind of got smoked. I mean,
Dr. B.
Usually when wrestlers go for broke and get really passionate about their real feelings and the struggles that they've gone through and all that, it usually lands a little bit better. But the problem was context. The way that you can't do that promo and then try to like talk down Britt Baker, like what she has done doesn't matter. Like you're this, WWE asshole who's like, oh, I didn't know this is small time. You don't know what it is to make it, and you blah blah. It's like she's been the world champion multiple times here. You know what I mean? And probably one of the top drawing women in the company, and like got over completely organically and sold merch and this, that, and the other. And it didn't hit like it needed to. You know what I'm saying? It's not. I think she was trying to go for that like John Cena, if you could do your job, I wouldn't be here kind of like
Great
punch,
connection.
but it just did not happen for her that way. And when Britt went in on her, it was just like, ooh, shit. You know what I mean? Like they got to really look at that face heel dynamic for where they go forward with this feud. Other than that, again, it's just like, it's good wrestling. You know what I mean? FTR and the Acclaimed. Let's just team them up if we're not gonna have them battle each other for the tag belts. Did anyone think Wardlow was gonna last? That was just a cobbled together Frankenstein team in the first place. I guess I get the motivation where he's like, oh, I'm gonna win every belt here, and then Joe's like, wait a minute, I got a belt. You trying to say you're gonna win my belt? And then attacks him or whatever. And then speaking of attacks, what the hell was the Ricky Starks thing in the back? Like, what are they doing with Ricky Stark? He got so over. Yeah. And then they just had Hobbs beat him. And now they got what's my man with the hair? The tall guy.
Archer.
Archer. Lance Archer just punking him backstage mid-promo, in fact. Like, really dropping the ball there. I actually really enjoyed the Jamie Hayter Sky Blue match, even though Sky Blue had a snowball chance in hell of beating Jamie Hayter. I never bought into the fact that she might at any point, but still a good match. Like I said, still very worried about Jamie Hayter. She has the flavor of the month, and AEW is not great at capitalizing on the flavor of the month. It quickly can turn into the McRib if you're not careful, even though I love McRibs. And then again, I thought the Danielson Sammy Guevara match was fantastic, but I'm not that into the Blackpool Combat Club Jericho Appreciation Society storyline. I think that I honestly believe that the next compelling story is that Regal has to turn on them and join MJF.
Ooh. Yeah, that makes sense. That actually makes a lot of sense.
It's got to.
Yeah. What do you think about Dynamite, Aaron, and what Chris was saying here about these matches?
Well, I'm just glad that it wasn't another Ring of Honor show. Like, I'm so glad that didn't happen. That it just still, it's not good.
Yeah,
it's not good. It's not like we're 3 years into this again. We're 3 years. I don't need to really reiterate this, but it's like we're 3 years into this. You just lost your top draw. CM Punk's not coming back, and you bet the house with the Elite and Kenny Omega. And I really, truly, I know that they kind of surmised that they were coming back at full gear.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to go the way you think it's going to go. Like, I think that maybe Tony and the gang think it's going to be like, wow, loud, rousing ovations for the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega. Maybe for Kenny.
Yeah.
You're telling me in Chicago, you think that those three dudes are going to get no way. Or you get booed out of the building. But that notwithstanding, man, I don't subscribe to the AEW fans. To me, like what I've seen online, do not like Saraya. They do not like her coming in there. She was cleared. Apparently, she's cleared for one match a month, which no wonder WWE didn't want to make her a wrestler again. Could you imagine?
Yeah.
One date a month. She's not Brock Lesnar.
She's not Taker yet.
She ain't Brock Lesnar. Like, so that's another thing that's not going to endear you to fans. Like, we all appreciate you coming back. We appreciate the love, the skill you have for the business. Your whole family's been involved. We loved it when Edge did it. We loved it when Bryan Danielson did it. You will always have I'm always going to be behind you if you're going to come back from such a thing. However, again, I'm concerned, just like I am with Edge, just like I am with Bryan Danielson, because it only takes one. It only takes one. And it's not like Britt Baker is like this amazing technical wrestler that can put you where you need to be every single time. Let's be real.
Yeah, true.
She's a hell of a promo. I think we saw that. And Chris, you're exactly right. I'm watching that promo and I'm just like, dude, Britt is chewing her up and spitting her out. When she said that line, "We don't take a walk-ins, it's by appointment only, bitch," I was like, God damn. Like, she got her. It's like when Britt was a babyface and she was feuding with Bea Priestley, they did this really good package and Britt tore her up. She's like, listen, I'm going to take my hand, I'm going to stick it in your jaw, I'm going to pull down on your mandibular nerve. I don't even know what that is, but it sounded cool. And she's like, I'm going to rip your jaw off. And I was like, whoa, that's pretty awesome. And Bea Priestley's only comeback was, she's not even a wrestler, she's a dentist. I was like, yeah, that's okay. That's fine. So, like, Britt's good, man. Britt is just, she's doing great with that part of it. I don't know what this is going to be. Like, I don't know what this match is going to be. I just feel like it's going to be a mess. And yeah, FTR, the Acclaimed are just in a hold. Like, we're just going to hold until we have to do that. And Wardlow, Wardjoe don't care.
Yeah.
I'm more interested in Powerhouse Hobbs getting over and doing all that kind of stuff. So hopefully we can do that. Surprise, surprise, Bryan Danielson has banger matches on the show. He should be on the show every week as the world champion, having banger matches, but here we go. You know, Sammy's great when he's away from Jericho. And there you go. Apparently I'm having a dog fight here, but Sammy's great when he's away from Jericho, and we saw it again. So just do more of the stuff you're doing and stop with the other Ring of Honor crap that sucks. That's all I ask.
Yeah, and we didn't we get like a 45-second thing on the Elite too, just kind of following up of them coming, essentially teasing that them and Omega are coming back. So clearly sides have been chosen on this one. But I liked MJF's promo on Barstool Sports, even though there was a weird place to do a promo. Honestly, nothing against Barstool Sports. There's just plenty you could like and not like about Barstool Sports, but it seemed like an odd place to do the promo. But I do admire the approach of the promo in that, I understand I've got to prove myself and I'm going to prove myself and I'm Satan and I'm all this. But as much as you guys claim Baker eviscerated Saraya, I think Moxley kind of eviscerated MJF when he was like, nah, man, I've seen the devil. I have been face to face with the devil.
He's right.
You and him, pal. Like that was just a great comeback. Now, when you compare it to the Britt Baker, sorry, I think I'm a little more lenient than you two are on her, but I agree with you, Aaron. It's clear the fans are lukewarm at best about her coming into AEW. They see her as essentially a foreigner coming into their territory to take recognition away from other wrestlers, right? And Tony, I think, miscalculated bringing her in. He thought, well, she's big in WWE, she's going to be big here. Well, initially there was a reaction, certainly goaded by the announcers, but I think they were booing her when she put her moves on Britt. There was boos in the crowd. And that tells you that this ain't going to, I don't think this is going to go the way they think it's going to go. And like you said, Chris, she's not known for delivering technically great matches. That is Britt Baker. So there could be injuries. There could be mistakes. As far as the promo goes, I think Saraya had her, and then she lost her when she went into the whole like I've had to go through drug in public, and that has nothing to do with what we're talking about here. That has nothing to do. Focus on what we're talking about. When you start to spin off into tangents that are real, then you've lost the plot, because this is about the fact that she has a legitimate case in saying that you are a person who's come in to the house that I actually built. And I like the line better, Aaron, when she said, you even put one brick into this house. You haven't put one brick into this house. I thought that was a really good line. Yeah. And I thought that was a way to get her. Saraya coming back going, I've been doing this for 30 years, honey. And I've been up and down the road. I did it for free. I was doing revolutions before they were trendy. all of that was great. It's when she veered into her personal life that I was like, oh man, because you know what she means by she was embarrassed by a million. It's because of those pictures and those videos that got out of her having sex and stuff. Like, I get what but there was no reason to bring that into this conversation. This was about who actually deserves to be the person respected by the people because of the work they've done in the ring. That's where it should have stayed. And I think that's where she lost the plot. And in the end, Britt wins the back and forth between the two for that reason. And she called her spot. Like, Britt was like, are you coming at me or not coming at me? Like, it was so obvious what was happening that you kind of lost it there. So I think this is not gonna end well. I think eventually Saraya's gonna leave. I think she's gonna be surprised, or they make her a mega fucking heel. She goes back to what she really does well, which is being a heel, and she's that outsider WWE heel who is constantly complaining about the product and having to wrestle, as she said, these trainees. That could be really interesting. That could make the turn happen if you want to make it work. To take advantage of the heat the authentic heat that you're getting. Yeah, the Wardlow thing, whatever. Eddie, I thought, fought a nice match with Paige, and then Paige getting the victory, no surprise. FTR and the claim, yeah, all of that is just waiting for the decision to be made about the Elite, I imagine. Hayter and Sky Blue, here's the deal. Hayter is still green, man, and you could see it in this match. The big swings, the timing was off on some of those stuff. Like, her and Sky Blue had some really clumsy, awkward exchanges when they were in tight, and it's like, oh man, come on, tighten that shit up. If you want to be a champion, tighten that shit up. It's gonna look better. You got to understand the timing, and so I think there's still a way to go. And the Danielson Guevara match was excellent, just excellent. I could have watched that match 3 or 4 times on repeat. They were so good. They have such great chemistry. And if Sam is going to do any kind of image repairment, it's going to be in the ring. And I think he's doing it, in my personal opinion.
That's what saves him from the go away heat.
Yes.
Like, people don't like him, but then when he wrestles, you're like, this fucker is good. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like, like the Miz when he would have some good go away heat at times, and then he gets the ring and it's all soft, and you're just like, oh God, it's out of here. But it was like, no, dude can go. Dude can absolutely go.
Yeah. Anything more to say on this, Aaron? Anything more or you want to chime in on?
I think I'm going to jump onto your point again about Saraya. I think it's going to be so hard for her to get. It's going to be an uphill battle for her because she's painted with such strong WWE colors. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
dude.
She was the NXT Women's Champion. She was the first double. She was the first one to go up and become the Women's Champion, when she beat AJ, and that whole thing was built around her. They made a damn movie about her.
How did you not bring that up in the promo? How do you not bring that up in the promo?
It's probably not allowed, but they made a movie about her that had WWE was all over it. The Rock was all over it. Also painted with strong WWE colors.
Florence Pugh played
led
her.
by Florence Pugh, exactly. So it's just like, how do you say all these things? And it's like, yeah, but they made a movie about you. Yeah, but they paid you for these years after you were hurt. Yeah, come on. It's going to be uphill for her.
And I know you guys love Britt, but Britt could have taken harder shots and should have. I think that's the smarter move, because that's the smarter move. Have Britt she's the heel, so she takes the shot. And take the shot about her not putting a brick in. That's great, right? But take the shots at her neck. And then I wish if Saraya brought up the movie, Britt could have said, "Oh, I saw your movie," and that would have been like a double meaning. And then boom, that's how you get into the fucking fight. It's that shot. It's that shot. Oh, I saw your movie, with a snicker or a sneer, and you turn to the crowd, and fucking Saraya just absolutely lays you out and does a number on you.
Really good, John.
That's the smarter move. Yeah,
that's really good.
You got to understand how to play these. There's a way to do these promos that works, that can walk the line, and it drives me nuts when they don't do them correctly, because you can get great heat from it. Anyway,
it's just a little barb. You're right. It's just a little.
It is.
Twist, and it works perfectly. That's really smart. Could you imagine being Adam Cole and Britt comes home and you haven't done the effing dishes, and you're trying to explain to her why you haven't done the dishes, and she just cuts a promo on you about how stupid you are, and oh, you've been sitting in your gaming room playing Modern Warfare 2 when you could have been doing the dishes. I'm over here working a full-time job as a doctor. holding up a women's division on my back. What are you doing? Like, oh God.
Yeah, I mean, and that's another avenue. Saraya could have gone the Adam Cole route. She could have said something about Cole to really piss off Britt. So there's things you've got to play with. And since this match is around the corner, you don't have time to waste fucking ammunition. You got to hit the shots. And I think I wanted more, even though, yes, I agree with you. Britt Baker won the back and forth. There could have been really a real juicy setup to this that could have put a lot of heat, and the fans would have been like, oh shit. That is what you want, is the fans to be chiming in and feeling like they're part of the schoolyard back and forth. That's what you want. Anything more to say on this, guys, or should we move on?
I'm going to get to talk to Britt for like a little bit next month, so I'm actually really excited to talk to her.
You know what? I don't believe you anymore because sometimes these people don't show up, and then you don't talk to them, Aaron.
That makes me want to cry. But no, she's going to be there. I'm getting time with her. I made sure to talk to the people. We're getting time, so we may have a little time with Dr. B. And as much as you hate it, John, Rebel as well.
Oh, yeah.
As much as you hate it.
Take that crutch away. I don't hate her. She's surplus to needs, man. She's surplus to needs. All right, let's move on to this. This is our last section of the show. Let's move on to this NWA situation.
Yeah, I know everybody's excited to talk about the NWA and its thriving program, but it's interesting because Nick Aldis, the former NWA World Heavyweight Champion, on 11/6, he announced that he was leaving the promotion, citing unhappiness in the company's direction, which is very interesting. Billy Corgan took to Busted Open Radio to say that Aldis is suspended currently, which kind of made me think it was a storyline, but then Aldis kind of doubled down and said, no, it's really not. It is worth noting that the NWA relaunched weekly programming a few years back with Aldis as the focal point of the show, as he was their world's champion. Mm-hmm. The COVID-19 pandemic really hurt the NWA, as well as the departures of such core talent as the aforementioned Ricky Starks, Eli Drake, who is now LA Knight, Serena Deeb, and Thunder Rosa from their women's division. So it looks like the NWA, since its return, has now lost its, for lack of a better term, it's Roman Reigns. It's, John Moxley. It's center point in Nick Aldis, like it or not. What do you think of this development here?
Chris?
I think it's really unfortunate, man. I feel for that promotion because I was an NWA Power fan when it first started airing, and the return of studio wrestling. And then they had Cornette as a commentator, and then he made the dumbass
ruined it
outdated off-color joke, and you know what I mean. And then it's like, but then the program remained good. I liked the Tim Storm Nick Aldis rivalry. I enjoyed the Trevor Murdoch meteoric rise to the NWA World Championship, which he's on now. Damian Sandow, I remember the name he uses in NWA, but him and the whole Kung Fu gimmick. Yeah, that was super entertaining. And there's just a lot. They had a lot going for them. They really did. And because it was just really straightforward. You know what I mean? It's like, we're not going to reinvent the wheel. We are going to give you the best version of what you remember about a studio wrestling program. Mm-hmm. And I mean, are we forgetting one of the original All Out main events was Cody Rhodes versus Nick Aldis?
Yeah, the NWA Championship.
Sure was. Like, that was a thing that happened. So I'd really hoped that they were going to sort of emerge, at the better word, as another alternative to what's happening in WWE, what's happening in AEW, New Japan, etc.
Right.
Because, for so long, the NWA brand, it was like, oh, it's dead. It's irrelevant. It's this, that, and the other. And we were so excited that a fan like us, Billy Corgan, was in control. And so the whole thing just is really unfortunate because Nick Aldis specifically has had a lot of shots in other places. Sure. He was Magnus in TNA, and he's had a couple, like I said, shots in AEW and this, that, and the other, but never really found his footing. But as the guy holding the 10 pounds of gold, he really became a big deal in this wrestling landscape. And I really appreciated that for him. So it just kind of sucks that now, I don't know, everything's kind of creatively stalled and they can't seem to work it out.
Do you think he sticks around? Do you think, he's saying he's done. Corgan's saying he's mad about it, he suspends him, but do you think they'll find a way to work it out or no? Do you think he's going? And is this being done because he wants to go to WWE? Maybe open the door to the possibility? What do you guys think?
I don't know where he fits.
Yeah, that's the big question. Like, you can't go back to TNA.
Yeah,
can't do that because that's a step backwards. And you can't. AEW doesn't really fit, and he's not going to go to NXT. So it's like, I guess WWE would be your ultimate shot, but I heard he's got heat, so I don't know. I heard he's got heat with Triple H, so I don't know.
I don't understand. How can I say this? I don't understand ending a situation if you don't have something else kind of semi-lined up. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. And if you keep burning bridges, and as Chris said, if you've been, they've tried on multiple promotions to make it work, why are you leaving? Are you leaving because you're done with the business? Because this could be your last stop. And so to me, that's where I come back to, is like, are you done with the business? Or do you really think leaving in this public way as an employer, you're looking at this going, if he can do this here, what will he do to me if he gets pissed off? I don't want another Punk roaming through my halls. So there's questions, So, all right. Well, we'll see what happens, obviously, and monitor it, because he's certainly a talent. And it's unfortunate the COVID situation kind of messed it all up, and which isn't, which many businesses got messed up by that, and what have you, and have changed things around. So we'll see what happens with all this.
Yeah, and Aaron, I actually think he might not be a bad fit for AEW. I think that what he'd have to do, I think he'd have to be CM Punk. And what I mean by that is
take the place of that.
I think he comes in and his gimmick is like, you all are a bunch of amateurs. You know what I mean? I'm a professional wrestler. I was the NWA World Heavyweight Champion.
Yeah.
All this with your game rooms and your marijuana use and your drinking and partying. What is this company? You know what I mean? And if he comes in as that guy, I think he could get over.
Fights in the locker room. What is this? Yeah.
Well, he's got the look, man, right? Like, he looks like a classic. That's probably why Billy Corgan ran with him, right? Because he looks like a classic NWA champion. But like Chris said, he was a big fan of Power when it first started. So was I. Big fan.
Yeah.
And it allowed people that were good at things to thrive. And it allowed some people that maybe wouldn't have got a shot to get a shot. Like Ricky Starks. Mm-hmm. Ricky Starks thrived on NWA Power because they got to see who he is. He was called Stroke Daddy, Ricky Starks, and he was rocking it. And he was doing his thing. And finally, people took notice and said, you know what? This guy's got something.
Yeah.
And then LA Knight or Eli Drake, he got to do his thing, man. He was so good on NWA Power.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. He cut some amazing promos on there. But I think with Billy Corgan, it's like, dude, I get it. Like, you're a fan and the NWA meant something back then. But I think we're past the point now where it's maybe we pack it in. Like, let's take the 3 letters as long as they still mean something in that championship belt, and let's maybe let it go, because to build what they're trying to build in the landscape that they're trying to build it, when we have WWE and New Japan possibly working together, we've had AEW and New Japan work together in the past, and these other companies, they're going to smash any gate that NWA has. They're going to smash it. With NWA, let's look at it. WWE's top guy, Roman Reigns. AEW's top guy, Jon Moxley. Right. And then, TNA's top guy, I don't even know who their champion is, Josh Alexander, I think. But it's like, and you're going to tell me that as good as Trevor Murdoch has been in the past couple of years, Harley Race guy, I get it, that's going to be your top guy against those other dudes? Like, you can't build it on Trevor Murdoch. I like the guy, but you can't build it on him.
Yeah, I don't think it's strong enough to build it on him. I agree with
you. I think the approach was just wrong. Like, NWA, it's like, okay, you can have Power, but the thing about NWA in the past was that it wasn't its like kind of own promotion. It was a collective of promotions.
Yeah.
So if you're going to like start a YouTube channel, why not highlight different promotions on your channel? Get with GCW, get with, PCW Ultra here in Long Beach. They get with PWG, get with these other promotions and create a platform. I don't see why they wouldn't want to be associated with Billy Corgan of all people.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
Create a platform for all those places to be seen, and then have your NWA World Champion defend his belt in the different promotions.
Yeah, makes sense.
Tonight, baby. Tonight.
Nice smashing. 3 quick news hits. Get your thoughts on this, gentlemen. Rumors are Chelsea Green is going to try to go back to the WWE. Any truth to that? That she's? Do you think that's possible?
I've heard some things. I've heard some rumblings, but I heard that the caveat is her and Cardona want to come in as an act.
Oh,
and he don't want to be Zack Ryder.
He doesn't want to be Zack
Matt
Ryder.
Cardona. Yeah.
Wow.
You say no, Aaron?
Might have worked on the indies, but could you imagine Matt Cardona and Chelsea Green on the main roster as anything less than a jobber act? Like, honestly, like,
would it be Maria Kanellis and Maria Kanellis again?
Yes, it would. Yeah. It would. Because look at this though. Like, same. Like, that's a great comparison because in the indies, Matt and Chelsea worked great.
Yeah, right.
In WWE, Mike and Maria did not work because they didn't know what to do with him. Outside of that, Mike Bennett is an amazing talent. Miracle Mike Bennett, big fan.
Yeah.
And him and Maria and Matt David as package is great. And I think they'll do well in AEW if they use them correctly. I think Matt Cardona is like older than me. I think he's 37, 38 in that area. I don't see him.
You ageist.
I mean, come on now. But like, where do you put it? Because you can't put it on NXT because he's too old for NXT. And where does it fit on the main roster? Who are they going to feud with? Miz and Maurice? We've seen it a million times. Yeah. Like, who they feud with? Like,
here's the thing about. First I want your take, John, and then they all.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. What's that? Yeah. No, I don't think. I think if they came in, they would be 6 months, and then they're back to trying to win the 24/7 title as a couple. It would be that, like maybe 3-month angle with Miz and Maurice or something. But neither of them were ever good enough to draw hardcore main event heat. So you just come in as jobber with the occasional victory, but it wouldn't get you over. You wouldn't be Karrion Kross and Scarlett coming in at all. Right. It would be quite the opposite. So, yeah, and Chelsea, from what I understand, there wasn't a great ending to that situation either. So, what do you say there?
Negative Nancy's, the two of you. May I draw your attention to a little thing called the Internet Championship title?
Yeah, you're right.
Matt Cardona as Zack Ryder was able to get over organically on several occasions when he was in the WWE.
Don't you think we've moved past the woo-woo era? I think we're past
And that's why he doesn't want to return as Zack Ryder. Yeah. He wants to return as Matt Cardona, the king of the death match, the guy who said the Fed was his developmental program. This dude, you cannot deny it, he knows how to get over.
Yeah,
when he's not being paid attention to is when he thrives the most. But he has always been the victim of punishment for getting over when he's not supposed to.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think that we're in that era anymore. Are we going to say the crowd didn't pop huge when he won the IC title?
Wait.
Massive.
I was asked to give my take on them coming in together. Cardona separate is a separate situation. I think Cardona separate could absolutely work. I would have a problem with that.
Nope.
And in fact, it could work if they had everyone calling him Zack Ryder and he's like frustrated and he kicks the shit out of everyone who tries to call him that name. And so you see that there's a real heel developing here. That could work.
I just think that he's like Raven. Like he has embraced, I want you to dislike me. You know what I mean? And he's been able to go from promotion to promotion and be like, what do these fans love? I'm going to shit all over it and make them despise me. And I love that. I love that about him. And I think it could really work in this new regime of WWE.
Fair enough.
I'm texting Raven after this. Like, dude, Chris has gone off the rails. I don't know if he's booking you for stuff, but you might want to make sure he's okay. I don't know what's going on.
He's compared to Matt Cardona. Yeah,
it's just not. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't work for me. I saw a story the other day where he said that he wanted to wrestle a cinematic match as Matt Cardona and face Zack Ryder. And I said, this is fucking stupid.
That's genius.
No, it's awful. It didn't work when Ego Page tried to do it either. It was awful. And as far as Chelsea goes, she's still got a lot of work. She's got a lot of work to do. She's quite. I'm not the biggest fan of Chelsea Green. I mean, she's blocked me on Twitter for saying as much.
Well, yes.
If we're going to get somebody for Impact, why are we not getting Deonna Purrazzo? Bring back Deonna Purrazzo.
Yeah, it's about to get married.
Happy
Shout out.
marriage. Happy
Yeah,
marriage.
Busy. Yeah, she's busy.
Happy marriage.
All right,
But
next news item. Rumors are circulating that Bray is trying to get Bo Dallas and Eric Rowan back in the fold in WWE. Does this seem inevitable as opposed to a 50-50 situation?
From what I understand, Bray has an unprecedented creative control clause in his contract to get him back there. That's why this thing has been drawn out the way that it has, and it's been so like, kind of it's starting to get to the point of agonizingly long, and where it's just like, so I applaud it. You know what I mean? It's something that seemed inevitable for a long time until he got fired, until both of them got freaking fired. So it's just kind of like Bo Dallas is another one who has been entertaining in spots on the main roster. Why not pair him with Bray? It just seems like a no-brainer. And then Eric Rowan, same thing. Like everything about Bray Wyatt's booking and storyline hit, like I said, it's been a linear story if you followed it. So of course Roman fits in there somewhere, but then that would also probably mean Strowman has to get involved, and that guy ain't making no friends.
Yeah.
What an idiot.
Corey Graves is apparently defending him now, and no surprise, Corey Graves, no stranger to saying stupid shit at times. Aaron, what are your thoughts on this?
uh,
Are we in danger of rehashing shit that went before and ruining this angle if you bring them in?
Do I have to watch Eric Rowan wrestle if this happens?
Well, I
probably
so at some point.
I'm out. I'm going to tell you this. Like, as far as Bray Wyatt goes, I love Bray Wyatt. Love him. Let's get to it, because I'm getting tired of Uncle Howdy and the plan. We need to start unraveling things, or it's going to start getting old, and people are going to be like, all right, fine, we're doing the same old shit.
Yeah.
I also heard, we talked about last week, I heard that Mika is involved, his sister. It could be a nice family affair. So that's good. Let's just start putting it together, because right now it's just kind of weird. Like, he's just feuding with himself, and that's an interesting idea, but let's see where it
have
goes.
Matches. We need wrestling matches.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Even if what if they're cinematic matches where he's wrestling himself?
No. And fuck Brian Alvarez and Dave Meltzer for saying that Bray Wyatt's out of shape. Fuck them.
What? They said that shit? Dave Meltzer said that shit?
Yeah, fuck them.
Meltzer thinks that vein means he's in shape.
And also, just a side note on Matt Cardona, if he does come back in, gonna have to get off the gas first.
Okay.
No comment. He is fucking jacked. I will say that. He is fucking jacked.
One last thing to Taryn Terrell, who was known as Tiffany in the WWE. She announced her retirement from wrestling completely. Is this a good thing, bad thing? Do you think it's time? I mean, she got over, in different promotions to a degree. Certainly a very beautiful woman. Do you think she's just kind of realized, hey, you know what, before I get seriously injured, I think I'm going to step away and figure out if I can do something else with my life? What do you guys think about this?
Yeah, from what I understand, it's stemming from NWA not handling an injury she had, a head injury at that, properly. And we know very well we don't fuck around with those kind of injuries. So if it's for your health and it's for quality of life, I applaud it 100%. There's way more to life than wrestling, even though sometimes it doesn't seem like that and when we talk about it on this show. But so what you need to do for what's right for you and like I say, your health, longevity, I applaud it all day. You've done it. You did the thing. You became a wrestler. You got over. You got fans. Go on to the next thing. Right. Happy for her.
Okay. What are your thoughts here?
One of the great knockouts champions of all time. I think is how she will definitely be remembered. And I mean, she's got a young child, so why not go ahead and go out while you can? You don't want to risk, like Chris said, you don't want to risk a head injury and that affecting you later in life when you have all these years left with your kid, and you still many years left on Taryn Terrell, and I think that's how she'll be remembered as one of the greatest knockouts champions of all time. Great career. I think she just came back to the NWA for fun. She's probably bored.
Yeah.
So So shout out to her for going out her way, and fuck the NWA if they really didn't look at that head injury.
Yeah, and I hope she's found something that she wants to do because I'd liked her as Tiffany. She was good as Tiffany.
Yeah.
Real quick, Victoria's launched an OnlyFans account for those of you who want to sign up for that, and the pay-per-view numbers for Crown Jewel. One last thing, let's talk about this. Pay-per-view numbers for the show were 6,500, the lowest for any pay-per-view show in the history of the WWE, and down 39.7% from Extreme Rules. So, and that's the show was down 18% in pay-per-view buys from the 8,000 for the last Saudi Arabia show, Elimination Chamber, this past February. So, how do we interpret these numbers? Are people just don't give a shit about the Saudi Arabia show, or did the WWE make a mistake here and realize and not make it more not make their fans more aware that storylines were going to bleed through this pay-per-view, we're going to connect them to this pay-per-view? Do you think this was a little bit of a mistake that they won't do again, or because they're signed up for do 10 of these, right? So what do you think these numbers mean, and how is WWE going to interpret them?
So are those pay-per-view buys, or are those like
just pay-per-view?
Yeah. Okay.
6,500, which is the lowest of any show in history, and down 39.7% from Extreme Rules. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they've kind of conditioned WWE fans that these shows don't matter.
Yeah, the Crown Jewel ones. Yeah.
Like it don't. So why spend that money if you don't got to? If you don't got Peacock, there's nothing about the Saudi shows where you're just like, I absolutely have to see it. Even though, people, the Paul brothers put eyes on stuff. It's not when that's your main event, damn well he's not beating Roman Reigns the world title. So it's kind of like, if I got to save my $50 or $60 or whatever it is that month, I'm going to on that show.
Right. Plus, it was Saturday college football at 9 a.m. Just didn't make sense.
Really early West Coast time. Like, nah.
Aaron?
I think people are reading way too much into this. It's pay-per-view. Who's buying this? Who's buying the pay-per-view?
Well, it's down 40% from elimination. So clearly people were buying Extreme Rules.
So what?
Okay.
So what? You're going to spend $39.99 on a pay-per-view? You're going to spend $10 on Peacock Premium? Like what? What the hell?
But that's the impressive thing about AEW, though. They do like good pay-per-view buys in the modern era, so it's like odd. I see where John's coming from. It's an odd thing.
It feels like, I think Meltzer put that out, so I feel like it's a Meltzer barb. It's like, they only did 6,500. Yeah, they got streaming, bro. AEW doesn't have streaming. Like, why would anybody do that? Like,
I would blow it off too. I would blow it off too if he wasn't comparing it to the most recent one, which is down 40%. That's a big deal.
I'll tell you when we're going to find out what the Saudi show is all about when the earnings report comes out for Q4.
Fair.
Then we're going to find out who gives a crap about pay-per-view buys, because from what I read and from what I heard, they're quite happy with Crown Jewel and what it did, and the Paul brothers are megastars, and they're pretty damn pleased with Crown Jewel. So,
especially since the direction WWE going in business-wise could be streaming in the future.
Yeah, true.
Everyone talks about the bidding war of 2024 over MJF. Think about the SmackDown bidding war when their contract with Fox is up.
Yeah.
Because those ratings have been going up with Triple H at the helm.
True.
And I'm hearing that a certain blank Prime is the front runner for getting SmackDown once this is all said and done.
Wow.
Because they are aggressively looking for live sports content.
So
aggressively.
I like what they've done with the NFL. I know a lot of people don't. I like what they've done with Thursday. Even though Thursday Night Football has been atrocious this year, that's not their fault. They don't schedule it. So it's like, I like what they've done with it. I could very well see that going to Amazon Prime. That would be a good idea.
I never said Amazon Prime. I said blank Prime.
Certain Prime streaming service that may or may not have used to be a company.
They don't call themselves Amazon Prime anymore. It's Prime Video. I've been very schooled on that over the last few months. So
then let me revise my story to blank video.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Aaron. I've loved what they've done with the NFL, and I think it's kind of nice to have this little exclusive thing. Look, I have Prime Video. I can watch it. You can't. I kind of like that. And for Twitch streamers, which Twitch is kind of dying, for Twitch streamers, the ability to kind of stream the NFL as an affiliate for Prime Video on your own stream on a Thursday night is a good thing. So imagine being able to stream WWE content as it's, or was it AEW or WWE content?
WWE.
Yeah, on your stream, it could, elevate, lead to some subscribers. So that's a great thing to do. Very easy, one click, boom, it's all there. Everybody's watching at the same time. So yeah,
you definitely should let your Twitch streamers jump into a shallow foam pit and break their back. That's probably not a good idea. Shout out to Adriana Chechik. We're doing okay.
Aaron's all into that kind of stuff. Yeah, exactly. That's where I'm at, Chris.
You saw that, right? Like she jumped into that ball pit and broke her back.
I don't know who she was.
Girl, jumped in and hurt herself. But what? I don't know what she's famous for.
Oh, Adriana Chechik? She's has a huge Twitch following.
Oh, but what is she famous for on Twitch?
Yeah.
She plays video games. That's what everybody does on Twitch.
Yeah. Is she hot looking?
I'm married. I don't know. I guess. But the thing is, I'm not just talking about her. The girl that did it before that, tore her ACL. It was wild.
It was terrible what happened.
Yeah, don't do that. And she was pregnant too.
Oh,
Adriana Chechik was pregnant.
Aaron, do you want to look at the menu? I've already ordered my food. Yeah, but you could look at the menu and see what's on the menu.
You order for me. I like that.
Order for me. Thank you.
All right, let's get out of here. All right, thank you all so much for watching this pre-taped episode of Strong Style. Unfortunately, we couldn't be live this week just for scheduling issues, but we appreciate you all watching this video. And Aaron, another fun show. Please let people know where they can find you, man.
You can find me on Twitter at only Aaron Turner. Find me there. Find us on TikTok at strong_style_ live. Shout out to all my friends and family that are dealing with the tropical storm that just happened a couple days ago. A lot of rough stuff in Daytona. So if you're in that area, I feel for you. It's been really awful. So we're thinking about you there.
Yeah, respect. And respect back to you, Aaron, and what you're dealing with as well. Chris Burns, another fun show, brother. Where can they find you, man?
Like I teased on last week's show, the BBC is coming to the internet. If you guys aren't familiar, from watching the show are familiar with myself and Jay Washington. If you're not familiar with our third co-host, Moses Prim, go check out Prim's Hood Cinema on YouTube. It absolutely blew up during the pandemic. And dude's just hilarious. And I love him because he's not even a comedian or host or anything like that. He's just a dude from Baltimore who is effing hilarious. And the three of us are going to start cutting up probably next week. First episode where we'll be reviewing Black Panther. So nice.
Speaking of which, because this drops on a Saturday, you go back one episode up and you can see me, Chris Burns, and Jay Washington reviewing Wakanda Forever spoiler review here on the Outlaw Nation channel. And for those of you who are watching this, because I'm going to put this up both on the regular channel, the Outlaw Nation, and on the new channel, the Strong Style channel, and the Outlaw Nation channel. This is the last week it's going to be on the Outlaw Nation channel. It's now going back to its own channel. If you haven't subscribed to the Strong Styles channel, we are on our own YouTube channel. It is now officially up. I'm going to put the link in the description of the video. Please do so, because that's where it's going to live. So if you enjoy us talking wrestling, that's where you need to go. Sign up and subscribe there, because this is the last one here on the Outlaw Nation channel. So thank you all. So as for me, you can follow me at The Rocha Says on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, the Outlaw Nation on Twitch. And that's it. All right. Y'all take care of yourselves. Be well. And we'll talk to you next time with another brand new episode of Strong Style. Peace.